Hello, and welcome back to another Roblox Forsaken guide. In this guide, I'll be breaking down the Sentinel-archetype of survivors, those being Guest 1337, Shedletsky, and Chance, showcasing their abilities, as well as giving my personal advice for how to play each of them effectively. My goal for this video is that by the end, you'll be more prepared to fight back against the killer, ending this nightmare once and for all. Disclaimer: this game is constantly being updated. Information in this video can become outdated as a result. If such changes happen, I'll try to post the most up-to-date information in a pinned comment below, at least for a while. With that said, let's start simple with Shedletsky. Shedletsky has the standard 100 HP and stamina split that most characters have, and he has two main abilities, Slash and Fried Chicken. The first, Slash, has Shedletsky pull out a sword fights on the Heights sword and slash in front of him with it, stunning the killer for 4 seconds if they are hit. This move has a lengthy wind-up, but applies resistance to John while winding up, allowing him to tank a hit in order to ensure the move's effectiveness. If dodged, Shedletsky is unable to run for a little while, which will likely lead to immense damage. This move has a 40-second cooldown, and unlimited uses so long as you survive said cooldown. His second ability is Fried Chicken. Upon use, Shedletsky pulls out some fried chicken from somewhere. His pocket? Sure, let's go with that. Either way, he then eats the chicken, regaining 35 HP. This move can be used only twice, and has a lengthy 70-second cooldown. Furthermore, much like Noob, Shedletsky cannot run while eating, and moves slower. Make sure you are in a safe space to chow down, or you may be hit for more than you would have taken had you just kept moving. Even so, this move is very strong, allowing Shedletsky to have an effective 170 health, making him quite the self-sufficient tank. Shedletsky's playstyle is very much hit and run, with the only time you want to be up close with a killer is when you want to stab them. Otherwise, attempt to keep a little distance, but be able to swoop in if necessary to rescue a friend. Use your sword's downtime to duck away and heal up if necessary, and don't be afraid to loop normally. You still have default stats. In a similar vein of playstyle, we find the 0.01% of gamblers, Chance. Chance is an oddball, having no set stats. Instead, his stats are randomized between 80 and 100 at the start of each round, and can be modified over the course of the round. Chance has a whopping 4 abilities, those being Coin Flip, Shoot, Reroll, and Hat Fix. Coin Flip fuels the rest, and is the main gameplay loop of the character. Upon use, Chance flips his trusty coin. It can either land on heads or tails, and upon landing tails, Chance gains X plus 1 stacks of weakness for 15 seconds, with X being how many you have already gained. This has no cap, allowing Chance to be killed by a slight breeze if he's not careful. In return for such risk though, if the coin lands on heads, Chance gains 1 charge, which he can use on either shoot or reroll, and he can store up to 3. Hat Trick requires 3 charges to use. This ability effectively has no cooldown, allowing you to gamble as much as you like. Just try to keep a level head about it. Chance's second ability is Shoot. Upon use, Chance pulls out his not-so-trusty flintlock and attempts to shoot it in a straight line where he is facing. On a technical aspects, when the Use button is pressed, a number between 1 and 4 is chosen at random, with a 1 causing the weapon to explode, a 2 causing no shot to occur, and a 3 or 4 causing the weapon to shoot successfully. This number, if 1 or 2, is re-rolled once for each charge above 1. Statistically then, this means that at 3 charges, there is an 87.5% chance the weapon will fire without issue, and a 6.25% chance the weapon either will not shoot or will explode. This is much better than the 50% and 25% odds respectively at 1 charge, so attempt to accrue 3 charges anytime you plan to pop a cap in the killer. If the shot hits, the killer will be stunned for a short time, depending on distance from the target. If nothing happens, then you just weren't running for a bit. If the gun explodes, however, it deals 45 damage and is unable to be used until Hat Fix is used. This ability has a 40-second cooldown and a max range of 90 studs. Next up is Reroll, the most gambly part of this gambler's build. Upon use, Chance changes his stats, with anywhere between 70 to 125 health, and between 80 and 110 stamina, becoming his new stats. For each charge Chance has, the changes are 3% more intense, allowing for higher highs, lower lows, and generally more drastic shifts between uses. This ability has a 20-second cooldown and spends all charges on use. Lastly, we have Hat Fix, the ability that saves Chance from being in crippling debt from opportunity cost. Upon use with 3 charges accrued, Chance removes all stacks of weakness from himself and fixes his gun if it is broken. This ability has a 70-second cooldown. Chance is the weirdest of the 3 Sentinels, oscillating between a glass cannon and a master distractor depending on his stats. Even so, having a gun is a powerful thing, allowing for ranged stuns when the other Sentinels couldn't dream of doing so. The way you will play Chance will change depending on what your health, stamina, and current weakness stack is, as improperly managing risk will bankrupt you in the life department faster than the killer can say jackpot. On to the last of the 3 Sentinels, the last guest himself, Guest 1337. Boasting a whopping 115 health, Guest is the tankiest survivor in the game, though that admittedly isn't saying much. Even so, being able to tank an extra hit from most killers is invaluable, considering the rest of his kit. Speaking of which, Guest has 3 abilities, those being Block, Charge, and Punch. The simplest of the 3 is Charge. Upon use, Guest swiftly charges forward for 1.5 seconds, able to turn slightly as he does. If he impacts with the killer during this time, the killer is knocked back, and rendered helpless for 1.25 seconds, unable to use their abilities. Guest is also granted invulnerability for the same duration. If Guest misses or collides with the surface, he gains slowness 2 for a varied duration, depending on how far he was from the killer. This ability has a unique quirk where, if charging into a killer within 4 seconds of another successful charge, the helpless and invuln effects are nullified, so space out your charges. This ability has a 45-second cooldown. Next up, we have Block. Despite its name, this move functions more as a parry, granting invulnerability for 1 second and dropping your move speed to a crawl. If hit while invulnerable, be it by melee or a projectile, you gain speed 1 and damage is nullified. Successfully blocking activates Guest's last ability, Punch. This move has a 24-second cooldown. Upon using Punch, Guest winds up for a second before lunging slightly, stunning the killer for 2 seconds on hit. If used directly after a successful block, this move is upgraded, cutting down the charge time and stunning for 3.5 seconds instead. Only 1 charge of this move can be stored at a time. There is an achievement for landing an upgraded Punch, rewarding the V1 Guest skin. Guest's playstyle is by far the most aggressive of the 3 Sentinels, requiring the killer to pay attention to them to get the most out of their kit. Thankfully, Block can be used to bodyguard someone, and socking the killer in the jaw is sure to get their attention. With your bolstered health, you can disrupt the killer by getting in the way, so that your allies have an easier time doing their roles. Keep in mind, you are still mortal, and your abilities have surprisingly lengthy cooldowns in Chase, so beware overextending while trying to play the hero. And with that, we come to the end. Hopefully I explained everything well enough, and in turn you were able to understand what I had to say. If any of these 3 get a rework in the future, I'll make a dedicated video covering their changes. In the meantime though, this has been M1, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you for watching.